Hello, it's Friday. I'm here. I'm ready. I have a Mountain Dew in hand that I'll probably take 3 awkward sips out of, break up conversation as it's going, because that seems to be what I do. I'm excited. We have a fun one today. We're going to be talking about favorite Halloween movies. These aren't necessarily the greatest scary movies of all time. I got some comedy on here. I got some schlock on here, some tips of the hat, and some things that you may not have heard of. I don't want to just, run down the list that you see in every IMDb top 100. I also encourage super chats, of course, because that's the name of the game here. We try to, I would say we now. Is this a thing that people do in 2023? Say it's just me. You say we over and over. But the show is funded 80% by fans. YouTube revenue is miserable. So I really look for you guys for support. Any way you can do it, whether it's a super chat of your favorite Halloween movie, sharing the video around, becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. There's different tiers there. And I actually have 3 people I want to shout out on this episode. I'm trying to do this every week or so, give a tip of the hat. I got 3 names. Master Sergeant, which I assume is his name at birth, Master Sergeant being the last name, Gregory Coburn, and the newest member. These are Unobtainium members on Patreon or via the YouTube join button. This isn't a cheap membership, but these people see the work that goes into this show and they're showing support, and I really appreciate it. Of course, it comes with some perks. Funny enough, these guys don't care that much about that. They're just here to support the channel, which I love. Evan Baumgarten is the new member. He signed up right before I came on at the Unobtainium level for the entire year. He's all in. He likes what he's seen. And Evan, I'm going to keep going. I won't let you down. We have new stuff coming out. Tomorrow I'll have my review for The Exorcist Believer. For some reason, I always want to say Belieber, which is a Justin Bieber thing, I believe. I don't know if that's the fan base, the Beliebers, or whatever. It was a long time ago. That was a dark time in history. We're past it. I think he was deported to Canada or something. Anyway, that review's coming tomorrow. If you want a quick version of it, it's mediocre. It does some dumb things, does the whole bring back the old guard, subvert expectations bullshit. For the most part, I just thought it was competently made and kind of meh. I have seen a lot of comments online really hot and bothered by this, just going off on director David Gordon Green, who, if you don't know him, he previously just did the Halloween trilogy that came out, ended a year or so back with Halloween Ends, appropriately enough. I say trilogy, but really it's 3 plus the original Halloween by John Carpenter. He made Halloween, which is a sequel to Halloween, and then the sequels. At least this time around, Exorcist Belieber is a sequel to Exorcist. My voice cracked. Hang on, let me take a drink of Mountain Dew. I'm hitting puberty at 40. I think it's a lack of sleep. Okay, pregnant pause. Sounds good on the podcast. This new Exorcist isn't just called Exorcist, but it is a sequel to the old Exorcist film. I don't know what year that came out. It's been a million years since I've seen that movie. So this is supposed to be part of a new trilogy. Based on reviews and early reactions, I'm not so sure he's going to get another trilogy out of this. This might have been a bad purchase at $400 million for the property rights. New Line Cinema or something. I don't even know who made this. Universal Studios, I would assume. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Let me get the banner up so that you guys know that we are expecting super chats to come in and we can start the show. Okay, do I have any more topics before I jump in? Oh, yes, I do have one more thing. And I plan on at some point making a graphic, a video, a banner of some sorts. But we're going to call this segment Pool Watch. For those of you that don't know, my neighbor is building a pool. We live in a quaint suburban new build area, but these aren't mansions by any means. This is the definition of middle class over here. And middle class, runs a very broad gamut now. But these are, they're plastic homes. They're built in 3 months. They look nice. They fit in with South Carolina. We don't have big yards. We barely have yards at all. But my neighbor decided, I'll throw down $100,000 for a pool and a deck and a cement slab and a fence and the whole 9 yards, the whole kit and caboodle, as they say. And this is becoming a problem for me because it turns out building a pool is a project. It's a big project. Last time I told you about it, the yard was torn up, my yard, because again, we don't have yards. So the machinery, the tanks, the workers, they all have to go through the in-between space of our house. So it's all ripped up. They started cutting cement for the pool, and all the cement dust has blown into my screened-in porch. All my furniture is covered in 6 inches of cement dust. It's great. It's just perfect. Even my AC unit completely shot. Now, the odds of my neighbor watching this live stream or getting it sent to him by another neighbor who does watch, very slim. But if you are watching, sir, I'm not upset. I'm disappointed. This didn't need to happen. This shouldn't have happened. Set your scope higher. You didn't need to purchase. You need to put down such a huge payment on a pool for a house in a neighborhood like this. We can do better. Let's strive for excellence. And so, this weekend I spent a good amount of time hosing off with my power washer, my screened-in porch, all my furniture. It's been moved into the garage. This has now become a project for both of us. The pool guys haven't been out here in 3 days. Pool watch is going to be going for a while, I have a feeling. So get your trunks ready. We're going to be swimming. We're going to be swimming all summer long. Okay, we have our first super chat before I even get started. Shot out of a cannon, Life is Good with $5. I like the 2001 remake of 13 Ghosts. Not super scary, but a Halloween tradition in my house. I didn't even know 13 Ghosts was a remake. Learn something new every single time I do one of these streams. Thank you, Life is Good. And you know what, 13 Ghosts, I don't remember being that bad. I don't remember it having a story. That's the one where it's in a big mansion glass house and there's digital ghosts projected everywhere that come to life, I think. I saw it once at a buddy of mine back in high school. He's a massive horror fan. He loves all the kind of schlocky, cheesy horror movies, Ghosts of Mars, whatnot. So that was definitely on. Bats. I think there's a movie called Bats. That kind of sucked too. Okay, let's get into my list. If I can bring it up here. We're going to go ahead and view this tab, add it to the stage, and we can we'll make myself a little larger than life. If you're watching the video form of the podcast, I should point out that we need you to, I'm doing the we again. I'm just going to assume, when I say we, I mean my wife and I, Lindsay and I, our family would like you to go over to Spotify and follow or like or do whatever you have to do over there to have the Adam Does Movies podcast show up in your feed. Follow it. You can do this via Apple Podcasts as well, or the podcast of your choosing. Amazon has it now. Google Play has it. There's other things. John's podcast has Adam Does Movies on there. Follow it, because there's different criteria that Spotify wants me to hit in order for me to, make pennies on these views. And I'd like to make pennies on the work. That would be great. So yeah, do that. That's a way you can support for free. It's free. It's free to do that. You don't even have to listen. Just like it or follow it or whatever. Okay, Halloween. Like I said, I have some standards on here. We're just going to brush through the ones you all know, but I think John Carpenter's Halloween 1978, this is an absolute must watch. Has it aged? Yeah, sure, a little, but thankfully the effects are practical. It's not relying on much. It has your standard unnecessary nudity, right, to start things off with a bang. The sister combing her hair, brushing her hair as one does in the nude in front of the mirror. I catch my wife doing that all the time, kind of sexily combing her hair in front of the mirror naked. I'm like, Lindsay, hey, can we calm down with this? All right, it's a bit much. Outside of that, though, the movie is solid. Jamie Lee Curtis giving, one of her early awesome roles that she'll go on to do until she dies. She's been in 35 Halloween movies. Maybe it's done at Halloween Ends. It feels like it's done, but who knows? Who really knows at the end of the day? I really like this movie still. And I don't have it on the list, but I do think that the David Gordon Green Halloween 2017, 18-ish, I really dig that one too. I think that it's a great companion to this. I do not care for Halloween 2. They came out a year or so after this one. I really don't care for Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, or anything past that. Once in a while you get a good one, like Halloween H2O is fun. Yeah, stick with the original. For the most part, I kept 2 originals on my list, and I do have these by date. So we're all the way back in 1978 with Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is a remake of something from, I would imagine, the 50s. We get more versions. There's 3 or 4 or 5 versions of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is my favorite. I really enjoy this one. You got Leonard Nimoy in this, of course. You got Donald Sutherland, who's the main protagonist. You got Brooke Adams, and even Jeff Goldblum's in this. It's a good cast. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to give much away, other than obviously aliens are involved and they're snatching bodies and they're actually cloning themselves to look like the people. It's pretty cool. It's got an awesome ending. Creepy film. Speaking of creepy, Alien 1979. For the most part, this Halloween list are movies I watch on Halloween or, October. We can peak early, September time. Alien maybe doesn't belong on here because I watch this movie outside of Halloween. I watch this movie all year round. Alien is just a great movie. It doesn't feel that much Halloween. It's just a sci-fi good time. Sigourney Weaver, of course, her prime role here that she will also go on to play until she dies. I think she's done. I think she's done as well. Alien Coven shit kind of ruined everything. Yeah. Aliens is also awesome, but that's more of a sci-fi action. We've gone over this on past episodes. Another one that I almost didn't put on my list, I love The Shining. I think this is a brilliant film. Stanley Kubrick, 1980. I believe Stephen King notoriously hates this film, the writer of the story, Stephen King, because it's very different than the book, mainly because Shelley Duvall's character is nothing like the character in the book. Shelley Duvall almost single-handedly takes this movie down with her performance. I do not care for it, but Jack Nicholson saves it. He salvages it. He makes it amazing. And that ending is so damn iconic. I recently watched the Key and Peele skit where Jordan Peele is this super excited guy who just is amazed by everything at a continental breakfast. If you haven't seen the skit, YouTube, not now, after this, or in tandem if you want, but watch the Continental Breakfast skit from Key and Peele. It's got a great Shining reference at the end. There's also a sequel follow-up thing to that where the same character is on a plane. They're both hilarious. Shining is great. Okay, we got Poltergeist on here. Tobe Hooper directed, but everybody kind of calls it a Steven Spielberg film because he actually wrote this thing. Craig T. Nelson is the main character, Coach. If you're familiar with Coach or Mr. Incredible, I guess it would be more appropriate for most people. Poltergeist holds up very well, I think. It's got some Ghostbuster style effects going on with some of the lighting and whatnot. But overall, I really like this. I watched it again 2 years ago. I plan on watching it this October with my son Connor. We'll probably have the whole family, actually. We might watch it tomorrow night. This might be a popcorn Saturday movie night for the family. I think that that's the one that we have on the table right now. Connor's 11 now. He's ready. He's ready to dip his toe in a little deeper water when it comes to the horror stuff. He's really been pushing for it, but it's too much. I know it's too much. I know my son, it's not going to happen. This is a great classic. It's been parodied. It's been referenced so many times over. This house is clean with the with the paranormal psychologist or whatever the hell she is comes in, the medium. There's a show about that. The girl gets stuck into pulled into the TV. She gets pulled in through the gateway, which is in her closet, and she's communicating via the TV. You can see kind of shades of this in shows like Stranger Things, communicating through the lights. It's all very relevant. It's all cyclical. It goes around. Poltergeist is awesome. I've talked about this movie so many times. Another Carpenter vehicle. John Carpenter knows how to make horror, and he knows how to make them last for the long haul. Another 80s film, also a remake of an old ass thing I haven't seen. It might be really good for all I know. It might be better than this, but I can't imagine that's the case. Kurt Russell vehicle right here. I really don't think I have to say anything. It's been referenced, parodied time and time over. You watch The Thing for the atmosphere in this is so good. Stranded in Antarctica, a bunch of guys who don't know if they can trust each other. Alien force is taking over their bodies, and then it's decapitating them. It's crawling around on the ground like a spider. Dogs are getting ripped to shreds. It's eerie. It looks fucking cool. I have nothing but also the score. The score is just perfect for this thing. The whole movie is atmosphere. It's something that's missing in a lot of new modern films. They're not getting that atmosphere right. That tension isn't there. It's not sitting. A24 is pretty solid with it. Although I will say they go maybe too extreme with the atmosphere, where it's 99% atmosphere and no character. Rant for another time, perhaps. Oh my God, there's super chats coming. I haven't been paying attention. Let's get them on the board. Matt Sclero, shot out of a cannon. $9.99. Did you know Cape Fear was a remake? Also, I love the Terrifier movies. Are you excited for Terrifier 3? Matt, I didn't know you loved the Terrifier movies. Are you being sarcastic? I truly can't remember. I thought you didn't like them, but maybe we haven't discussed that. I dig the Terrifier movies too. That's the definition of schlock done right. They're all in on the campiness, the bad acting, the over-the-top blood and gore, and they're not for the faint of heart. There's some pretty gross stuff going on. I am excited for Terrifier 3. I'm a little... I don't know if they needed to go so all in with the lore, with the magical swords and all that stuff. It feels like it's going a little too maybe sci-fi retro, but maybe it'll work out. I don't know. I'm excited to get more of the character and that creepy little girl version. That was a nice addition. Cape Fear, I did not know was a remake, but if I haven't mentioned it, I think I did. Matt gave me a list of movies to watch. Yeah, I did mention this, but I watched Cape Fear. I did really enjoy it, and now I feel at home and at peace that I understand references from shows like The Simpsons when they dedicated an entire episode to something I previously had no idea. That feels good. Thank you, Matt. Kyle Nelson, $4.99 with the beautiful super chat says, was your house built on a graveyard? Also, Poltergeist from Trauma is very scary. Poltergeist. I was thinking Poultrygeist at first, which would be awesome if there was a turkey version of the horror film. PPS, Halloween Resurrection with Busta is trick or treat, motherfucker. That's right. Trick or treat, motherfucker. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kyle. My house was not built on a graveyard. It's built on a pool yard now. It's the pool hall. It's the pool hall. We have Rob K for $5. I watch Trick or Treat 2007 each October. Each story in this anthology revolves around Halloween night and are fun without being too gory. Okay, all right, Trick or Treat. I've heard good things about it. What's that other Halloween movie? It tells a couple different Urban Legends. I feel like that was all right. Came out in the maybe early 2000s. Feels around the time it would have come out to maybe late 90s, around American Pie times. All right, let's get back to my list. These were very nice super chats. I'm very happy with what I've received so far. Good picks, good times, good friends, good fun. Skidididididid. When there's something strange in the neighborhood, who are you going to call? The pool guy, of course, so they can get his ass over and finish the job. I'm sick of looking at that crap. Sorry. Let's stay focused. Let's stay forward focused. We got Ghostbusters, 1984. Ivan Reitman directed. We all know this film. It's comedy. It's horror. It's perfect. It really is. I'll even throw Ghostbusters 2 in the mix. I know we're at odds here. Some people hate that film. They think it's trash. Bill Murray's one of them. I like Ghostbusters 2. Is it a step down? Yeah, of course it is. But we have our whole team together. They still have a lot of the same director, production, writing going on. It's got the same look and atmosphere and style. It's about goo. There's a baby getting taken by a creepy ghost. It's good stuff. Not great stuff though. And Ghostbusters 1 is. We got Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. We got Gozer. We got the Gatekeeper, the Keymaster. A lot of lore built in under the surface. I love it. I've seen it a bunch of times, a stupid amount of times. The Ecto-1, the Proton Packs. This is movies. This is creativity flowing. You don't see this shit anymore. Skidididididi. And it also made roller rinks back in the 90s absolute fire. You go to a roller skating rink, you got on some inlines, you got the dude in the middle with the big foamy dice, throwing it around, the fuzzy dice. He's doing spins. There's a guy on the ground touching the toes as he's going all the way around the big circle. And then what comes on? The smoke machines, the fog machines, followed by it's just fire. I love that. We got The Fly, 1986, David Cronenberg. This is a Jeff Goldblum vehicle, if I remember right. Yeah, you better believe it, Buster. This is a creepy ass movie. Again, awesome practical effects, a really good atmosphere. If you haven't seen 86's The Fly, 100% recommend. I'm truly shocked they haven't tried to reboot this movie. I think they did, but not in any like large scale sense of the word. This might have been my wife's pick. I had Lindsay give me a list of movies that she wanted me to represent for her. And I believe The Fly was one of her picks, but I'm kind of championing it as my own as well because this is a really good flick. And it's one that I need to revisit myself. Yeah, hers are going to be mixed in because I sorted by date of release. And at first I had mine on top, then hers, but it's all mixed together. It's all Willy Wonka. It's all Mickey Mouse shit. The Lost Boys is a Lindsay pick. Joel Schumacher did this? Joel Schumacher of Batman and Robin fame? Now he did a lot of good stuff. It's unfair to talk about the Batman movies that he did. Kiefer Sutherland. We have Donald Sutherland's son in this one. I'm gonna be perfectly frank with you. Are you holding on to something? I've never seen The Lost Boys or the follow-up film that came out not that long ago. Never seen The Lost Boys. I know it's got one of the Coreys. Corey Haim. Corey Heineken. Something. I've never seen it. It's my wife's pick. You're welcome. Okay, we got Tim Burton. We got Beetlejuice. I like this movie quite a bit. Watched it last year, actually, in October with my family. The kids, I was a little worried. I thought they wouldn't like this thing. They loved it. They wanted more of it. And guess what? We're getting a sequel. Isn't that exciting? We got another Beetlejuice movie in the mix. It's on the way. Tim Burton's back, baby. We got Michael Keaton back. Winona Ryder's reprising her role. This time she's the mom. And I believe that Olivia Rodrigo bitch is going to be, what's her name? It's not Olivia Rodrigo. That's the singer. I celebrate her entire catalog, by the way. Olivia Rodrigo's new album is freaking fire. What's the Wednesday Adams chick's name? She's also in the new Scream movies. Let me look her Wednesday Adams actress. Jenna Ortega. I was way off. Jenna Ortega is going to be the new I guess protagonist because she's the it girl right now. I forgot Alec Baldwin's in this. Gina Davis. There's so many good characters. Where's the Home Alone mom? She's in this too. Catherine O'Hara. Great little musical number where they dance around the table. They start levitating up into the air. You know it. We all know it. It's worth watching. Oh God. The people under the stairs. This is a Lindsay pick, folks. I've seen bits and pieces of this trash heap. I don't care for it. My wife always brings up the people under the stairs. I'm not entirely convinced she's even seen the whole thing herself. She'll claim she has. It doesn't matter. People Under the Stairs is one of her recommendations. I can't tell you anything about it other than people are living under the stairs. And the homeowners don't know. Unbeknownst to them. Candyman, 1992, another pick from my wife. I saw this for the first time, actually. When did the new Candyman come out? Was that last year or 2 years ago? I saw this before the new Candyman. I gotta say, this movie held up really well. I enjoyed it. I also really enjoyed the new Candyman. I thought it was a great companion to this one and the quasi-soft reboot, although it definitely can, pretends to be a sequel in a sense. It works well. This movie works well. I like the whole lore behind it. I would watch this. If you haven't seen Candyman, I really thought it was going to be terrible. I went in with the lowest expectations and I was pleasantly surprised. Great cinematography too, by the way. I was really impressed with a lot of like bird's eye top down views. And for what are we at the 90s? That was not really a thing. That's something you see a lot now with drone cams flying over roads. I guess The Shining did that a lot. It has a Shining vibe in a sense, like a poor man's Shining is what I would call the Candyman. And even a poor man's version of The Shining, still a version. All right, we're off the beaten path for sure. I've brought this movie up several times in past episodes. I love The Frighteners. It's not for everyone. I understand that. 1996. It's got some aged CG for sure. It's one of the first movies I recall outside of Terminator 2 to really use the whole kind of liquid walls, demons pushing through wallpaper, going through mirrors, but not going all the way through. This is a Michael Jackson. This is a Michael J. Fox vehicle. That should be enough to sell most people because Michael J. Fox is a national treasure. It still disgusts me what happened to him over the years. It's unjust. It really is the bottom line. Is it's unjust in every way, every shape, every form. You don't do Michael J. Fox like that. Anyway, this is still when he's very much on his game. He can see ghosts, and so he's kind of using it to his advantage to make some cheap money on the side until he sees the Grim Reaper staring him down. This is a mystery, action, horror, thriller, comedy. It's got it all. I'm not going to say anything else other than Peter Jackson directed this. He's having a ball. Everyone involved's having a good time. I laugh my ass off. I find it to be immensely quotable, and I'm one of the few people that's actually seen it. So I'm basically quoting to myself. And that's okay. I'm fine with my own company for the most part. I had to put it on here. Wes Craven's Scream. You got to when you have a Halloween, playlist. Wes Craven has to make an appearance at some point. This guy is one of the kings. He's right up there with John Carpenter. Wes Craven's Scream. We're on what? Scream 8, 7 or so. It doesn't matter. The thing that works so well about the Scream franchise is it's in on its own joke. It's not quite a parody, but it might as well be. It's often pointing at the silly stakes, the silly situations that characters get into. It calls out the people that are going to die early on. There's usually a character in the film that gives you the playbook, tells the characters how the stage is going to be set. They guess who the killer is. They second guess themselves. They might be the killer. It's got it all. And Scream really set the stage. This is one of the few, and I mean really few, movie franchises that continues on in a pretty respectful way, pretty commendable way with the material. There's not really a terrible Scream 3 for me is easily the worst, but even that one is still a watchable shit show. And outside of that, they stay pretty consistently great. It's really kind of the Mission Impossible franchise of horror. Like you look at Halloween, absolute mismatch of good and bad movies. You look at Nightmare on Elm Street, complete shit show. The Jason movies, at one point he's in space killing people in Jason X, aka Jason 10. Nightmare fuel. But Scream, consistently solid. This is one of the best horror franchises around. I just like this movie. This is an example of schlock done right. Event Horizon, Paul Wes Anderson. Is it Paul Wes Anderson? Why does it say Paul W.S. Anderson? Is that really how it's always been? And I just say Wes? Paul W.S. Anderson. Well, Wes Anderson is a completely different director. Okay, I guess I've always said Paul Wes Anderson, but Paul W.S. Anderson. Wow. All right, whatever. Lawrence Fishburne. I call him Lawrence Fish. I love Fish. He's good. He's always good in these movies. You got Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. And what else do you have? Oh, yeah. A ship from fucking hell. There's been a ship sending out a distress call. Another ship goes to see what's going on. Where's the ship been for the last couple decades? Where's it been? Spoiler, it's been down in hell. And what has it brought back with it? Pain, anguish, suffering, and a very enjoyable film. Check out Event Horizon if you haven't seen it. I figure I put Ghostbusters on the list. I might as well throw The Mummy on here. Yeah, I know it's an action comedy adventure, but there is horror elements to it. The Mummy, of course, one of the classic, iconic monster characters, right up there with Dracula, the werewolf, Frankenstein's monster, Mummy. And this is a Brendan Fraser vehicle. We got to have representation. We got to have Brendan Fraser on this list, and here he is. Also Rachel Rachel Weisz. Pour one out. I mean, she's just a lovely, beautiful woman in this. I guess she's not dead, but I pour one out because she did not reprise her role for The Mummy 3, a movie that I own and I have yet to watch to this day. My son Connor really loved The Mummy. We watched the second one with the terrible CG Dwayne Johnson Scorpion King fiasco. That movie's still fun. It's still pleasantly enjoyable. But The Mummy 3, which I believe has Jet Li as a new villain, that's pretty badass. I still haven't watched it because no Rachel Weisz, no interest. That's really what it comes down to. Let's see what we got for super chats. Let me take a break. Let me take a sip of dew. Let me do the dew. Got the Juan here. $2 super chat from the Juan. I See You. Is that a movie? I See You? You trolling me? I don't understand what I'm. I See You 2002. Sylvester Stallone. This is a Sly Stallone vehicle? A lead detective being stalked by a serial killer is asked to check into a clinic treating law enforcement officials who can't face their job? Original title Detox. I have no idea if this is this the one. I don't know if you made a joke earlier and this is a $2 off that, or if you're talking about this Sylvester Stallone film that I've never heard of. But thank you for the recommendation and the super chat. Life is Good for $5. Lost Boys, gotta watch it just for the saxophone solo, if nothing else. If you didn't know, The Fly is a remake also from an old Vincent Price movie. I did actually know that Life is Good, and I failed to mention it. You are right, though. It is a remake, old black and white shit. I don't know if the original's any good. I haven't seen a lot of the stuff from that time period because I wasn't born, and I'm just, anything that's older than the 80s, I'm like, no, I'll do some 70s, but anything outside of that, it's like, it's too old. I don't like it. I don't want it. Thank you for the super chat and for the knowledge to pass on. A beautiful $10 super chat, powerful from Perm. Sup, Adam? This will show my age, but I thought The Monster Squad was good fun as a kid. Haven't watched it as an adult, so it might not hold up. And of course, shout out to Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice. Perm, Booby. I tried watching Monster Squad, I want to say 8 years ago. I didn't care for it. And I only watched it because so many people talk about it. Like, Monster Squad's great. It's one of the best. More people need to see it. I found it to be cheap. I didn't find it funny. I just couldn't connect. I do think that's one of the movies that you had to grow up watching it to really take it in and appreciate the film. Or I'm just an idiot. Either case, I really did try to watch Monster Squad, and I couldn't do it. I wasn't impressed. Maybe it was the mindset I was in. Maybe it was that I didn't have kids at the time when I tried to watch it, or if I did, they were like little shitty babies annoying me, so I was getting no sleep. I don't know the reason, but I do know the film. Thank you, Perm, though. Definitely one. I'm in the minority here. A lot of people love Monster Squad, so good recommendation. Check it out, folks, if you haven't. Kyle Nelson, $4.99. Thank you, Kyle. Poultrygeist. Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead is a 2006 horror film directed by Lloyd Kaufman. I should use spell check more. Also, Silver Bullet, Gary Busey. I am familiar with Lloyd Kaufman. I don't think I've ever seen any of his campy movies. They look like a lot of fun, though, but I don't think I'm in the target demographic for them. That's just not my cup of tea. That's awesome, though, that it's Poultrygeist. That's brilliant. Thank you very much for correcting or clarifying, I guess, would be more appropriate, because I did think Poultrygeist seemed more appropriate. The One is back, $2, always repping Stallone. Okay, that's fair. Where's Cliffhanger 2? I thought at some point he was coming back for Cliffhanger 2. Are they just going to reboot that crap? Is this going to be another baton pass? Or is Vertical Limit really the Cliffhanger 2 we all thought it was? I don't know. It's really hard to know. Thank you, Juan. Okay, we have Sleepy Hollow. This is a film pick by me. This is a Tim Burton joint. Jay Depp as the he's not the Headless Horseman. Jay Depp is just the main character. You got Christina Ricci, the original movie Wednesday Addams. Christina Ricci, the better one, if you ask me. I know Jenna Ortega is the hot thing. I'll always be a Ricci stan. We also have Michael Gambon's in that? Casper Van Dien. Casper Van Dien. There was a very small window where they were trying to make Casper Van Dien a thing. He kind of felt like a Jean-Claude Van Damme without the actual fighting skills, but he kind of had that great jawline, had a look to him, but he just couldn't get it. He had Starship Troopers and apparently Sleepy Hollow, and then I don't know what else. I think he might have been in some version of Tarzan or Jungle Book, and he was in a terrible snake movie called Python that I freaking love. It is so bad. It's a complete ripoff of Anaconda. It went straight to VHS on the top shelf of the movie store, or bottom shelf, depending on where you see the C movies. That's where it went. And then Casper Van Dien since then has just made string after string of terrible movies. I love it, though. Sleepy Hollow is also the Headless Horseman. I do have trivia on this movie. The Headless Horseman is played by two people. Christopher Walken plays him, facially before he loses his head. And then the headless version is the actor whose name I never remember, but he's always like hidden. He's all these prominent characters, but you never see him. He's the Headless Horseman. He's Darth Maul in the Star Wars prequels, and he's Toad in X-Men 1. And he even does a Darth Maul staff spin in X-Men 1 as a shout out to his character. What is his name? He's a stunt guy, but he's done some really cool movies. Someone knows it. That's okay. I better look it up. This is what kind of shitty service would I be doing if I can't do some research, right? Darth Maul actor. It's like something Jones, I think. Oh, Ray Park. Ray Park. He's the guy. He's always putting in the work, but he's never getting the credit. He was the Andy Serkis before Andy Serkis came along. We have a super chat from Kyle Nelson again for $1.99. Thank you, Kyle. Practical Magic and Gremlins 2. Those are interesting calls. Practical Magic, that's with Nicole Kidman, Sandra Bee. Is Sandra Bullock in that? I think we have a couple of the strong female leads from the 90s in this thing. Gremlins 2, I dig. I really do dig Gremlins 2, and I really appreciate you putting that on the list because it really is kind of a Halloween movie. The first one, borderline Christmas, I would say. Christmas in the trenches. And then Gremlins 2 takes place in the giant multiplex building. Multiplex is a theater. Whatever you call a giant building, a something plex. It's a big mall. It's kind of like a Mall of America situation going on. And the Gremlins are just running wild. It's just carte blanche to do whatever they want in this business plex. Well, let's get back to my list. Appreciate the chats. Appreciate the picks. It's good stuff. And Sleepy Hollow is good. It's a fun time. Okay, here's a Lindsay pick. No, you're seeing this correctly. This isn't the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She goes with the 2003 Jessica Biel joint. Now, I will give her this. Jessica Biel looks fantastic in this movie. I don't think a wife beater's ever honestly looked happier in its life. The movie itself, not that bad either, if I remember right. This is the one where they're like hanging from meat hooks, and the ending is just creepy as shit. It's got that found footage beginning and ending, and they're like, this is all based on real footage. I'm sure it's not, but that was good stuff. It's a Lindsay pick. I stand by it. I think Texas Chainsaw rep is good. I haven't seen the original a very long time, so I can't tell you how well it holds up. I do know that new one was absolute shit. The Netflix flick. Oh, gross. Hated that movie. Another remake. Man, there's so many remakes. This whole list is remakes, really. This is not a Romero film. This is the Zack Snyder remake of 2004. I like this one better. It soups up the action. It's got some good tense moments, some good drama. It's not written by Zack Snyder, which also is a plus. I think this is written by his replacement in the DCEU. I think this is a James Gunn directed film. So we have two different directors / writers coming together in perfect harmony. Amazing stuff. We should share this with the Snyder cult online. They might lose their shit. They might freak out. This guy worked with him. Now he stabbed him in the back, dude. Those people are something else. I really like this movie. Ty Burrell is in this from Modern Family, kind of random. He plays a total asshole, which not on brand for Ty Burrell. He seems like one of the nicest actors to walk the earth. It only seems appropriate that we have Shaun of the Dead follow it up. The comedy version, Dawn of the Dead, we have Edgar Wright directing. He did Baby Driver. He did one of my favorite movies, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And he did another one that people might put on their horror list, actually. He did that Soho. What's that movie called? Something Nights in Soho. Last Night in Soho. Last Night in Soho. Is that what it's called? Oh, it is. Last Night in Soho. And the movie was so-so. It should be called Last Night in So-So, because I found the ending to be very disappointing. The last act really kind of let me down. Shaun of the Dead does not let me down. This is a very fun movie, obviously playing off tropes of zombie films. You have we have Simon Pegg in this, Nick Frost, the comedic duo. This is part of their little universe trilogy of films. I don't know a single person that doesn't like Shaun of the Dead, and it absolutely has the best rendition of Don't Stop Me Now by Queen, where they have pool cues and they're beating the living hell out of the living dead. In sync with the music, which is great. Oh, now we descend into madness. Quite literally. The Descent is your classic cave survival. A lot of the movie takes place in the dark, but it is beautifully filmed. Some good color grading going on here with those punchy blacks. Can blacks not be punchy? I mean, there's really only a solid black color. Sometimes it's a little grayish, a little muddy. This is a thick, dark black. And then you have popping reds. A lot of this movie has that kind of red vision going on. I don't know why I'm getting so stuck on the color grading of the film. We have a group of girls, women, spelunking. They're going out on a trip. The one is just getting over the loss of her husband who died. It's not a good situation. Her best friend's trying to console her, but there might be some baggage with that relationship. And it might get resolved by the end of this film. This is one of those movies that has a deliverance feel to it, especially in the end when the psychological stuff starts to play out. There are two versions of this movie. I've warned people about this. I don't know how you know which one you're watching, but one of them is far more disappointing in the final moments. I believe the one that was released in America, I can't even say that. I can't even say that. I feel like they released both versions in the theaters just at random, just at will, and you got which one you got. Because I know that the one I saw in theaters was great. And then when I bought the damn thing on Amazon Prime, I got the other ending. Unbeknownst to me. I would not have bought the film had I known. And it's not that the whatever you want to call it, the basic bitch ending is terrible. It's just the other one elevates the material more. It gives it a haunting vibe. I hate when movies do that. I paid $3 extra for that stupid Will Smith movie with the CG creatures from a Spider-Man film. I can't remember what it's called even. What the hell's that movie called? I am something. Will I am. Will Smith zombie movie. I Am Legend. Oh, I was close. I Am Legend. Terrible CG. I don't know why they didn't go with practical effects, but the movie's kind of fun. It's kind of got a creepy vibe to it. And there's the director's cut ending is the superior ending for sure. I Am Legend. I am Sam. With Sean Penn. Another very creepy film. I lost my list. I lost my list. Here we go. Ooh, I think, yeah. I think this is another James Gunn pick. Slither. Before James Gunn was taking over the DCEU and making Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad and doing a bunch of Marvel crap, he was making some trauma stuff. He was making some real gross, funny crap. Slither's one such film. This movie is pretty disgusting, and I'm all for it. I really like this movie. It's got Nathan Fillion in it, who is in Firefly, aka Serenity. Great show, great movie. Sad it only went one season, but they did what they could with it. They did what they could with it. Nathan Fillion's great. He should have been Drake in Uncharted, but we can rant about that another time. That would actually be a great episode for a podcast. Actors who should have played roles in movies that were perfect for it, but they overlooked them. At one time, Mel Gibson was supposed to be Wolverine back in the mid-90s. That would have been great. Mel Gibson's crazy. He would have been perfect for Logan. I love Hugh Jackman, though, but I'm just saying, back in the 80s, 90s, Mel Gibson would have been great. Slither is a disgusting film about this this alien creature that takes over the body of Michael Rooker, and the dude's pounding raw meat. He's building a nest in his basement. He's impregnating Elizabeth Banks, I think. No, not Elizabeth Banks. It's a different actress that he impregnates. But it's just the whole movie's just disgusting. But James Gunn's having fun with it, and the actors are having a hell of a time. And Nathan's funny as crap. It's you got to watch the movie. I highly recommend Slither. It's very different. That's what I really appreciate about it. It's very different. We've talked about The Mist before. This is a movie that's completely elevated by its final moments that I don't know how you see it coming, but it is heartbreaking, brutal stuff. Watch The Mist. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead, I don't know how you could be anymore, but the early seasons when the show was pretty solid, you have 3 or 4 characters from that show, 3 or 4 actors, I should say, not characters. Rick Grimes isn't in here, but the actors are. Plus, we have Frank Darabont, who did the first couple seasons of The Walking Dead. He did the directing on this. It's a Steven Spielberg story. Small hick town, of course. You have your standard Steven Spielberg, or not Steven Spielberg. You have your standard Stephen King characters in there. The redneck, the white trash guy. It's all good. The scientist. Solid stuff. Okay, another comedy, kind of up there with Shaun of the Dead, the dumbed down American version, if you will, which is what I appreciate. Zombieland, this is a fun ass movie. Kind of has a little bit of a Ghostbusters vibe to it. Maybe it's because Bill Murray's in the damn thing, and he has one of the greatest. It's not even an extended cameo, really put on film. That would be another great topic for a podcast. Some of my favorite movie cameos. We'd have to put heavy spoilers on there because I don't want to ruin that stuff for people. Like I guess I just did if you haven't seen Zombieland. Emma Stone in one of the first movies I've seen her in. Smoke Show, funny as hell, the full package. Jesse Eisenberg is great in this. Woody Harrelson, top notch. Abigail Breslin. The whole crew is really doing it. I love the zombie rules. I love the Twinkies. It's all working for me. The sequel came out way too late, but I actually didn't mind that either. So you got 2 Zombieland movies you can watch. This is both a Lindsay pick, my wife and myself. We both really enjoy The Conjuring. James Wan, you may know him from Aquaman. I can't believe he's directing Aquaman 2. How is James Wan, who I think he did Saw also. He's done a lot of horror films, gross movies, and he does freaking Aquaman. It looks nothing like his stuff outside of a couple scenes here and there where you go, oh, there's James Wan's stuff. I feel like he's directing in name only and someone else is shadow directing because these movies just don't look good. Conjuring looks great. Conjuring 2 is also really good. It's very different than the first one. Totally different vibe in the sequel. The thing that stays the same are the 2 fraud characters, the beloved couple that goes around. I say fraud because in real life, but in the movies, they're the real deal. The third one you should not watch. The third Conjuring movie sucks. The Devil Made Me Do It. They don't even call it The Conjuring 3. They call it The Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It, which makes me think they didn't even have enough hope that it was that good afterwards. So like, we're not going to call this 3. Maybe we'll do Conjuring 3 later, and this is like a spin-off. Kind of like all the other Conjuring universe spin-offs, The Nun and Annabelle and whatever the hell else they come up with. Annabelle Origins Wolverine. Okay, 2014, we're pushing along. It Follows. This is a different film. It has I could have put the Terminator on here because that is a straight up horror film and it's really good. Terminator should be on this list. It Follows kind of follows suit with the Terminator as far as the vibe goes. It has the synth music. It's got a good look to it. Oh my gosh, folks. I cannot believe what is happening. It's been so long. I don't have my computer plugged in and I'm very low on battery. We are running on empty right now. I might take a break and grab the power strip. I mean, I'm getting close to getting through this, but I don't want to just cut it off. It Follows 2014. Yeah, neon look to it, the synth vibe. It's basically. Oh my god! Hello? You got my power strip? Are you here? Hello? Hello? My wife is yelling from in the. People in the stairs is real. Do you know what my power cord looks like? She's here. Thank you. We got the power strip. I just got to get it plugged in. It's great for the audio version. Highly recommend you listen to the audio only version of this. There we go. We are back in business. Thank you, Lindsay. Shout out to my wife for paying attention. It Follows is basically an STD is being passed on from person to person, and it kills you unless you sleep with someone else. Then it moves on, and the STD is in the form of a creepy ass set of ghosts, dead people that stalk you around. It's an unnerving film. If you haven't seen It Follows, put that at the top of your list. I thought this was such a unique, fun take on the genre. Okay, now we're back to kind of the basics. We have It, another remake. this we got a Skarsgård in this. Bill Skarsgård playing Pennywise. It's hot under these lights. I'm kind of sweating today. It was like I was Keanu Reeves in Speed, and I just had so little time left to get the power adapter. I think it looks really good. This is basically a blockbuster horror movie. It has beautiful cinematography. It's got a large budget. It's got some crazy good CG work. You got a good set of young actors doing their thing. I think there's one or two from Stranger Things in the mix. It Part 2 or Volume 2, not quite so good, and I cannot believe it's 2.5 hours long. It's an all right one-time watch, but it's definitely a step down from Part 1 here. I really did enjoy this. This was Lindsay's pick, but I fully support it. I stand by it. Hereditary. Ari Aster. This is the guy that did Beau was Afraid. What else did he do? Midsummer, I think. Ari Aster he's putting out some great weird ass movies. I really like Tori Collette. I don't know anybody else in this. Or Tony, I'm sorry. I really like Tori Collette. Her name is Toni Collette. I've been a fan of hers since The United States of Terra, which was a TV show that no one watched except for my wife and I. She plays an actress she plays a character that has multiple personality disorder. She kind of gets to play that here in Hereditary. The woman can act. She's freaking great. The Hereditary is really creepy too. It's one of the scarier movies on this list for sure, because they do take their time building the scene up. A camera will just sit locked on a corner for minutes, it feels like, at a time. And then at the last second, you'll see the reveal that she's like up at the top of the wall, like, ha! Plus, you got that mailbox decapitation to really set the stage. Big fan of that. Love a good mailbox decapitation. Short for decapitation. A Quiet Place. This is another just safe, solid film. John Krasinski, Jim Halpert, Big Tuna comes in, and he makes a really competently done, nice twist again on the horror genre. You have people that can't talk, or these weird, these secret, crazy aliens that are just off camera waiting, like having a sandwich, and then they hear something and they just take off and rip you to pieces in a second. Yeah, it's a good time. It's kind of got a mixture of Cloverfield's mystery and a little bit of Signs in the mix. A little bit of Signs in there for me. I did get A Quiet Place too. Also, really a fan of that one as well. Ending's far weaker in the sequel, and I do still think it was a huge mistake to kill off Krasinski's character in the first movie. I don't know. Like, he's the best part. Emily Blunt is, of course, amazing. but their dynamic on screen is really what sold it for me. And the fact that the problem is he made a really good movie, and whenever you make a really good movie, you have to do more because that's how this works now. Everything needs to be a franchise. If it's making money, you're making more of them, or we'll find someone else who will. Okay, we got just a couple more on here. So I have two more on my list. If you have any more, throw them in super chats. Now is the time. Get them locked up. I have one that I did not see from Kyle Nelson for 199. The Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. Any episode. Kyle's a fan of the Treehouse of Horrors. Kyle, I am too, and that's actually a great suggestion. Although they're not movies, and this is movie based. The Treehouse of Horrors often will parody movies. We've seen Dracula in the past. Really, honestly, every movie is kind of a treehouse of horrors. My favorite will always be the one where the Simpsons are abducted by the dumb aliens, and they're not sure if the aliens are going to eat them or not. They go into the kitchen, and there's a book, How to Cook Humans, and then they blow the dust off and reveal it says How to Cook for Humans, and then they blow the dust off. It says How to Cook for, like, the U shows up, so it's the number 4 humans, and it just keeps going. They keep adding on to the title of the book. That's good writing for me. It's really fun. Last Halloween, actually the last couple, we have been doing Treehouse of Horror marathons, just kind of randomly picking them from the seasons. So yeah, Kyle, we're with you. The Invisible Man, another remake and another iconic classic monster character, the Invisible Man. This goes a very different direction though than past ones. You have a crazy ex-boyfriend. Man, he's all in on the Handmaid's Tale Elizabeth Moss character. She's always a delight to watch fall to complete shit. Elizabeth Moss is the go-to actress for starting out okay and having her crumble. Her whole life gets shattered as it goes on. She ages 25 years in everything she's in from beginning to end. Again, she's a delight here too. The Invisible Man's great because you don't know if he's in the room, but you kind of do. You're with her. They film it from the perspective of Elizabeth Moss's character, so she'll look at a corner and she'll just sit there fussing about it. Like, I know that asshole's there. I know he's there. And she'll do things to kind of get him to come out. It then kind of at one point turns into a John Wick-esque battle in a hallway. I really dug the action in this. Yeah, I would recommend checking out Invisible Man. I had a good time. Was not expecting much from it. Some people are going to say Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon. No, Invisible Man's far better. Last one on my list just came out. Did this really come out last year? Wow, I guess we're almost done with 2022. But Jordan Peele's Nope, the third entry to the Jordan Peele scary universe he's got going. Us was the one previously, and then of course Get Out was the original Jordan Peele movie where he showed the world, hey, I'm not just funny as hell. I can also direct really good creepy movies. Nope is my favorite, although Get Out is pretty damn solid, and obviously that's the one that gets the most notoriety. I really like Nope. I've used the analogy before. Other people have said this, but I pretend I'm the first. It's Jaws in the sky. There's something up there. They don't know what it is. Hiding behind a cloud that never moves. Maybe it is the cloud. What's going on? There's that story. Then there's the crushing backstory of what's the actor's name? He's from Steven Yeun, I think is how you say it. Steven Yeun from Walking Dead. He's got this brutal backstory about when he was a kid actor on a show. Things go bad. I don't want to give it away. This movie's not that old, but there's a scene that takes place on that sitcom soundstage. It's one for the ages. That there's scenes in movies that stay with you, especially in the horror genre. I think of the scene in, for some reason, Halloween H2O, where a person gets their face put into that acid water and it freezes and burns off. It's disgusting. There's the scene in Hostel where a person gets their Achilles heel cut open. Also happens in Kill Bill. Equally as disgusting. That Achilles heel shot is just brutal stuff. This is another podcast idea. Top 10, top 20 horror moments that stick with you. Ooh, we could that might be a live one. We might be able to come up with some good stuff for that. And I'm sure you in the audience will have an idea or two to throw into a super chat. Like, Adam, you got to put this on here. This has got to be on there. Nope has one or two of those moments by itself. If you didn't watch Nope, if you slept on Nope, give it a chance. It's not just your standard, horror film. There's layers to this movie, and the more you break it down, the more you think, oh man, this is really doing some cool stuff. There's stuff percolating underneath the surface that needs to be dissected, needs to be talked about. I think that's it. I'm like, I was itching my foot and I just started falling. I just fall straight over on camera. That'd be great. Then my credibility would be shot for real. That's my list. There's a good 25, 30 on here. And obviously I left off a lot of bread and butter staples, but I just, I wanted to give you a variety of comedy, some good action, thriller, scary movies, some straight up scary movies, and just a little bit of everything. And I figure, everybody knows Nightmare on Elm Street. Everybody knows Jaws, but Jaws, I feel like I watch that all year round. I can watch that movie. All right, what we got here? We got a couple more super chats. Like I said, my list is done. So if you have a super chat, throw it out now with a movie recommendation for Halloween. Chris Zostek, apologize, 1,000 apologies if I said that wrong, Chris. $1.99 super chat, thank you. Would you watch Extraction? Half, it's quite good. Would you watch Extraction? Half of it's quite good. There's 2 Extraction movies with one of the Chris's, Chris Hemsworth, on Netflix. I think they're Netflix exclusives. I heard they're good. I heard they're really solid action movies. I, at some point, might watch Extraction 1 and 2. Nothing, I've done crazier things. I just watched Cape Fear for the first time. Came out 30 years ago. Finally did it. So yeah, Extraction, I might get to it. Thank you, Chris. Jan Rose, there she is. I'm so late to the stream, just out of it tonight. Scream 2 is one of my favorite scary movies. I also really love the Final Destination movies. Jan, I love Scream 2 also. I might actually like it more than the original. I also really like Scream 4, to be honest with you. I did rank them 4, 5, or 6 years ago. I don't stand by the rating at all because I think ranking videos are stupid. I've always said that. And even my own rankings are bullshit. And I will be the first to admit it. Because I change all the time, and sometimes it's a toss-up. Other times I just don't care that much about where they're ranked, but for some reason YouTube and people that watch YouTube love ranking videos. So I did them for a time. I humored it. I felt empty putting out ranking videos. Like, this movie's better than this one because why exactly? I don't know. Who cares? Yeah, Scream 2 was a fantastic follow-up. They really kind of they took it and ran with it, right? That's the one at the college. The killer is basically a cult of people. It was wild. Really dug that one. I like the 4th one because you bring in Hayden Panettiere. It's really, at this point, making fun of itself, plus the new, more modern tropes, which are now dated as well because that came out a decade or so ago. Yeah, Scream can go forever. As long as scary movies are being made and as long as they keep kind of changing the formula, Scream will have something to talk about. Thank you, Jan. Thank you to all the super chats that came in. If anybody has any final ones, put them in now or forever hold your peace. I'm going to go for maybe a couple more minutes. I'll just give some housekeeping. Coming up on the channel tomorrow, as I stated, I still have to film it, but I'm going to do my review for The Exorcist, Justin Bieber, Believering, whatever it's called, the sequel to The Exorcist. They didn't just call it The Exorcist this time, which is nice. It's less confusing. It's supposed to be part of a new trilogy. We'll see how that shakes out. My initial thoughts, it's mediocre at best. Not terrible. I will say the girls acting in it, freaking great. Fantastic performances. Outside of that, I have a roast coming up. This is a Matt Sclero joint in combination with my wife, Lindsay. She begged, she pleaded for someone to torture me with the Twilight films. Matt stepped up for this first one. We'll see if we can keep the roller coaster going afterwards. But that's on my agenda too. I'm going to be watching that this weekend, writing the script. And, you'll look for that roast next week sometime, probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We'll see how long it takes to make. Of course, we have the podcast on Monday. I already gave myself a few ideas. We'll see what sticks. By that point, I'll have forgotten all of them. Tuesday and Friday. You're seeing it right now. The live streams are planned. Actually, I take that back. We do have an announcement. We do have a shakeup. Next Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Nope, not Eastern Standard. Is that what it is? Eastern Standard Time? Yeah, whatever. EST, something like that. I will be doing the podcast. Friday will not happen because Friday night, I will be going to a movie with my daughter and a buddy. We're going to a concert, really. We're going to an experience. The Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie, 2 hours and 45 minutes long. You throw in trailers. This is a 3-hour concert tour extravaganza. These tickets weren't cheap either. I'm a Regal member. It's $21 a month. Good deal. I can see unlimited movies, except for movie concerts, apparently. That's $22, fam. $22 a piece to see Taylor Swift, but you're really getting a concert experience, and I celebrate her entire catalog, so I'm going, which means 8 o'clock is the showing, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I don't get back to the house until 11:30, maybe closer to midnight. I'm not going to stream then. So Tuesday night, we have a stream. We'll figure out when we do the next one. It might be a Thursday night. It might be a Saturday night. That seems wild. That seems crazy to do a Saturday night stream. I will put a poll up. I promise you I'll put a poll up at some point soon. I'm going to say, listen, Friday's not happening. You want a Thursday, you want a Saturday. Let me know, and we're going to figure it out. We'll figure it out together. That's really the only thing I can do about it. All right, enough rambling. I have one final super chat from Brian Babin. Shout out to the Cannon for $10. John Carpenter's 1987 Prince of Darkness is probably my favorite horror movie ever. John Carpenter has yet another horror classic? And why have I never heard of this movie? Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness. Where? Google, show me what's going on. 1987 American supernatural horror film written and directed by John Carpenter. Starring Donald Pleasance, Victor Wong. What? Alice Cooper? What? In all creation. A Catholic priest invites quantum physicist Professor Howard Brack and his students to join him in the basement of a Los Angeles monastery belonging to the Brotherhood of Sleep. Okay, you have my attention. They decipher an ancient text found next to the cylinder, which describes the liquid as the corporeal embodiment of Satan. Oh my God, I'm in. I'm all in, Brian. Thank you for the recommendation. I have not heard of Prince of Darkness. I feel shame, of course. John Carpenter's a legend. Apparently, I have some work to do. All right, thank you guys for all the super chats today, all the movie suggestions. We have things to watch, that's for sure. Hopefully, I gave you one or two you hadn't heard of or one or two that you passed by, and this will give you some time to reflect and say, you know what? I agree with Adam for the most part. He is an idiot, but I agree with his movie taste. Let's give it a watch, and I hope you do. I'm going to check into some of these. We have October. October is just starting. We got a lot of time before Halloween. Let's get to work. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for joining the live stream. And I'll see you you know what? I almost got through it, but I didn't. And I'll see you guys real soon. There we go. Talk to you later. Now I'm going to end the stream and uncomfortably stand here.